Today's edition of Mac Voices is supported by MacVoices Magazine, our free Flipboard magazine that brings you some of the best Mac, iPhone, and iPad productivity tips on the web. High in signal, low in noise, just like Mac Voices, MacVoices Magazine includes information on how you can get more out of your Apple technology. Subscribe at macvoices.com/magazine or search for Mac Voices Magazine on Flipboard. Welcome to Mac Voices. This is the talk of the Apple community, and I'm Chuck Joyner. Folks, this time we get to welcome a developer to Mac Voices for the first time. I met him at WWDC, I believe it was last year, and we talked about an app he was developing, and now the app is out, and he's here to talk about it. And what intrigues me about this particular class of application, this is a Notes app, and I'm fascinated by Notes apps because they can be pretty much whatever you want them to be or whatever the developer wants them to be. And that is good for you, good for the developers, but it also makes the choosing of the Note app a little bit more difficult because it just depends on how you use Notes. So we're going to find out what Noted, that's the name of the app, brings to the table. And I'm happy to welcome Vincent Loi to Mac Voices. Vincent, welcome. It's good to see you again.
Hey, thanks for having me, Chuck. It's great to see you as well.
Hey, it's absolutely a pleasure. And first of all, congrats on getting Noted off the ground. I know that's been a number of months in development.
It has been. It's actually almost been a year, actually, from the start to launch. So it's quite a journey, to be honest.
Yeah, that's something I think that us non-developers don't always appreciate, just how much time it takes to goes into one of these apps, and especially something as sophisticated as Noted. So you heard my introduction, and I think it's always interesting to see the feature sets that developers put into Note applications because, at some point, I mean, you would think that there are only so many features, and yet somebody always comes up with something new.
Sure.
So what does Noted bring to the table?
Because, as you said, there's quite a number of applications that do similar things, but we are focused on audio recording. So we're combining the note-taking part and audio recording together and developing some features that are focused on synchronizing the text and the audio together. So things like a tagging system we call timestamp. So your text would be in sync with the audio recording, so you know exactly when that text was typed out during that piece of the audio. Okay, so
I've seen that done a couple other places, and I've tried it, and it works great if you are in a really controlled environment. But so often you're sitting somewhere in a class, in a lecture, whatever. The guy beside you is stirring his coffee, or the other guy beside you is eating potato chips or something.
Yeah.
And the recording, is just not great.
Yeah.
What intrigued me about this, though, is you put in some audio controls to give you a better recording.
Yeah, that's right. We do have features such as noise reduction. So that would probably solve your problem where, there's, shuffling papers, there's sounds in the background. So that would, reduce that kind of noise so you can clearly listen to, the person talking, etc. We also have an EQ feature as well, an equalizer. So that would help adjust, the sound of the playback as well.
Okay, so I'm sitting in my lecture. I'm running Noted. It's doing the audio recording, and I make sure I understand this. So if I'm taking notes, though, that is being marked on the recording, or the notes are being marked with the timestamp.
You would basically, whilst it's recording and you type, the text would be marked with the duration of the recording. At the side, so you can always tap specifically where in the text, and it would take you right back to that frame, if you like.
Okay. Yeah. So then, when I'm back reviewing my notes, I can listen to the place where I made the note. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right. So you don't have to listen to the whole recording and try and find that place. when you have like maybe an hour-long recording, you don't want to be, skipping forwards and backwards. So you could maybe you could put a tag there as well, saying that, oh, it's an important point. So then you could tap that tag, and it will take you straight back to 30 minutes or etc.
So after I've done the recording and taken my live notes, if you will, do I have the ability to go back and replay the audio and then make additional notes in that file?
Yeah, sure. So you can always, you can even edit the duration as well. If you, for example, if it was tagged too early or tagged too bit late, you can edit that. But you can, as you will, you can add photos, add whatever you want at a later point. Because, for example, in a lecture, you might want to listen to the professor and then make notes after the lecture. So it's always good to revisit it later, I guess. Yeah.
Now you said add photos, so this may be a little dangerous, but if I'm in the lecture and they put a slide up that I'm really interested in, can I take a picture and have it automatically entered into Noted, or is that something I need to do after the fact?
You could actually just straight away take a picture and it would go straight into the editor. Yeah, or you could, if you take it, you could take it straight into the editor, or you can take a photo from the album as well. So say if it's later, or so there's both ways.
Right. So basically, I'm creating a multimedia note here, or document that contains my notes, contains pictures, contains the recording of the event, a little bit of everything.
Yeah. So, sorry, what's the question?
No. So I'm kind of parsing this, that this is very valuable, because this way I don't have to go back and try to figure out which slide came before which, or who said what when. Everything is time stamped as it happened. Yeah,
that's right. So it's very, that's why we like this. We're very focused on the synchronized feature. I think it's one of the core features of the app as well, and what the most valuable thing for using Noted.
Okay. Yeah. Why a Notes app, Vincent? Did you have a particular need that you were trying to fill, or just you didn't see the feature set out there that you really wanted to have in a Notes app?
If we're talking about, is it why the idea came up or something like that? Well, it's sort of a joke, but it's actually one of our team members. They were in the shower one day and just thought of this idea. So it's very random, the shower thoughts. You just think of just random ideas. But he did bring it out to the team, and because we wanted to make a product ourselves, and this was something we discussed for a long time. There was different ideas, and because he was very close to like students as well, so he would know what their needs were, and we were trying to see in the market what we could achieve, what there was something missing, and we couldn't really make just a notes app and sell it as, oh, it's very unique, because it's not. So that's why we picked audio recording, and lately audio has been quite a trend as well, with podcasts and different things like that. So it's something we were very eager to explore as a team. Yeah.
I get some of my best ideas in the shower. I'm right there with them. I know.
Yeah.
There's something about just being isolated in a shower that.
Yeah, it's just 20 minutes of thoughts.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Was this app designed for any particular type of note taking? And I mean by that, I was referencing earlier business meetings or lectures or students in having classes and that kind of lecture, or could this be applied to pretty much any situation?
I don't say the design is necessarily targeted towards a group of people, but in mind we're focusing on mainly students and professionals, because we see this app being used in lectures, as I said, and in business meetings. And because it's something that we want that is efficient, because we don't want the user to be, too engaged, writing notes. We want them to be still engaged with in the meeting, the conversations, whilst making effective notes. So that's why we've got the features there for them to make, quick, quick information, like bullet points and tags and stuff like that. So it's not too much hassle, but at the same time, they're making good, effective notes.
That's got to be a terrible temptation, because I'm sure there's so many features you would like to put into the app.
Yeah.
But trying to keep it usable, because you're right, I'm going to sit and be scribbling out notes, or however I'm doing it. We should talk about that in a minute. But then I would like the idea. I love the idea of being able to take the pictures and all, but I don't want too many controls to distract me.
Yeah, that's something the design team as well had in mind, which is to make it not too much. So we're keeping the the user interface tidy to the minimal. So you're not too as you said, too tempted to click everything and use everything. So it's always something that you're always tempted to do. So. Yeah.
Okay, so I mentioned scribbling. What does this support? Just keyboarding, or does this support drawing on the screen? What all do you give us?
Actually, if you're talking about drawing, we're actually this is actually our next update, which is to add sketch to Noted. So it would be. It would probably it'd be scribbling, I guess, but it's more like drawing diagrams and stuff like that, and you can add it to the editor, and then you can there will be your a great wide ranges of brushes and pencils. We're also supporting Apple Pencil as well. So when you what's it called? When you draw harder, it's like the sensitivity of it.
Yeah, the pressure sensitivity, right?
Yeah, that's the word. So that's something we're adding to the next update as well.
Okay, and I got to ask, how quickly will that update be out? I mean, we talking a couple weeks or months or?
It's actually in the testing stages now already. So I would say in 2-3 weeks maybe, hopefully.
Yeah, because that's something that I think a lot of us do different diagrams, or maybe then you draw an arrow to something and something else, and it's and also I know a lot of people that doodle at meetings, so that might not be good, because now your notes are going to be cluttered. But that's up to you to manage, not the user to manage, not for you.
Right. Yeah, that's right.
So once I've got this document that I've created in Noted. What can I export, or how can I export it? Or is it pretty much in Noted, and then that has to be my note-taking choice of my note-taking app of choice?
No, there's actually quite a lot of choices. One is obviously to a Noted user, and we use iCloud as our service to send notes to your friends and your family. So if you have a Noted app installed on your phone, they could share that note to you, and you can actually import it straight into Noted. And you'll still see the same amount of, the same text, the same recording as well. So the full thing straight onto the Noted app. Or you could actually export the audio or the text separately. So perhaps maybe you want to, maybe in a meeting, not everybody has Noted, but you still want to maybe share the meeting minutes with your colleagues. You can export that as a text file or something, and then we send that via email or other third-party applications.
And that would be the way I would share it then to my desktop as well.
Or you could, if you can AirDrop it if you have a Mac. Or if you have, Windows, you can obviously, export it to an email or something, or how you would transfer it to your computer.
Right, but what I meant is that that I would be exporting the text or the audio. I don't have, in other words, I don't have a Noted app or a Noted reader for my Mac.
For Noted for Mac, is that?
Yeah.
Noted for Mac is actually we do plan for it, but it's obviously such a large project. It's something that we want to do in the future, but not as of yet, I guess. But it's always in our mind. Yeah. And
It's a lot of work.
Yeah,
it's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work. Yeah, it is a lot of work. Yeah. And I'm not sure if you heard about it, but there's some rumors going around that Apple will be unifying iOS and Mac development.
Oh, yes.
Have you heard about that? So us developers will be able to just write code for one application and it would run for the Mac as well. So it's something we want to explore into at WWDC this year. So hopefully that would drive us to, or give us more insight into how we should build the Mac application.
You would be a perfect candidate for that, because then if my iOS app will run on my Mac, I can have the full noted experience without the developer having the burden, having the burden of having to develop a completely separate app.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. That's right. So we do have a lot of requests for Mac recently as well. So it's something that it's always in the back of our minds. Yeah, and we actually just discussed it in the meeting this morning as well. How we're gonna or what plans we have for the Mac when we do actually go into development.
Very interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah.
The other thing I want to make sure we touched on is the pricing of this app, because you've adapted a little bit of a subscription model,
right?
Which is obviously it's good for you, and we've said it a million times here on Mac Voices. The developers have to get paid, but for a Notes app, it was a little bit surprising to me. Now that said, it's a very reasonable price, and I'll let you talk about exactly what it is. But again, it's just it's trying to figure out who will accept that and want it for the feature set that you offer.
I guess it's obviously you said that us developers, we need to eat as well. So it's perfectly normal for apps to be offering subscription models, and we did actually at one point think about a one-off fee. But at the same time, we want to make sure that we want to give more people a chance to try Noted, whether that's through the basic version or the free trial version. And so we came up with this subscription model, and the Noted Plus, we call it, which is the subscription. It's more for people who want to use the features like noise reduction and EQ. They want to further use these advanced features to, improve the recording. And obviously this is something that not everybody needs, but is there for them if they wish to use it. Yeah.
And how much is the fee, and how does that work?
So we have two plans. Each plan comes with a free trial of the premium features, so you can always try those before you actually enroll into the subscription. But we have it monthly, which is we're in the UK, so we're saying 79p a month. I'm not sure how much that is. Is it $99? I believe, something like that. And then
No, I don't think it's that. I hope it's not that much. No.
No, 79p a month, which is, I'm sure it's 90. No. Cents.
There you go.
Cents. $99. My bad. And yearly is £7.99, which is $8.99. Is that how you say it? Yeah, a year. So the two plans.
What intrigued me about that? Yeah, you panicked me there for a minute with the $99. Yeah. But what I find interesting is that this is one of the lowest subscription pricing things that I've seen, and I like that idea, because so often we're seeing, well, we want you to pay $5 a month, $7 a month, $10 a month for things that now there's some apps that out there that I heartily believe are worth that and probably more, but then there are others that, okay, I'm not going to use them every day. And it becomes a little bit of a struggle trying to maintain all these subscriptions. 99 cents, 79 cents. Yeah, that seems a lot more in line and very reasonable for Noted. If I decide that those premium features are worth it for me, that's almost a no-brainer.
Yeah, that's right. Obviously, we want to keep it, as you said, reasonable. And we think that for those who do want to enroll into subscription, it's someone that will use it, very often. And so I think it's quite a reasonable and also quite it's a good idea, I guess, because you'll be using it, for school or for work. It's not something that you'll be using, just for a few days. So we think this is, it's worth it as well.
Now, the one other thing I want to make sure we got to is one that, depending on who you are, may or may not be important. But you advertise this, and I want to make sure I get it right. Beautiful audio note-taking in your pocket. So how important to you are the aesthetics of the app, and is that really, do you think, a selling point of all things, a Notes app?
Through our feedback we had so far, a lot of people do like the design. As I mentioned earlier, it's very clean and everything's kept to a minimal. So because we want the user to also feel comfortable using the app as well. So that's why the design and each, even just different buttons where it's placed, the whole experience, it's very thought through. So it was quite a vital part of the whole development as well, the design part, which was spent quite a lot of months into that as well.
And I applaud you for that, because again, I see plenty of apps out there, and they're functional. They're very functional, but they don't seem to take any consideration or spend much time trying to decide, okay, I want this to look nice, along with being functional. And so when I looked at this, it's like, this really is, clearly somebody has taken the time and cares about making this app. Yeah,
it's always a hard balance between, sticking all these features in and, making sure, at the same time, making sure it's actually appropriate to be put there. So at the same time, we're trying to balance the two at the same time. So, hopefully it works. It's working out well, I guess. Yeah.
So it sounds like you've had good positive response to this.
It is design-wise. Yeah.
Okay. So it's in the App Store now. And you mentioned that the user gets a free trial of the premium features. How long does that free trial last, or how does that work?
Oh, that would depend on the plan. So for monthly, we give a week free trial, and for yearly, it would be a month free trial. And after the free trial, you can it would be an auto enrolling subscription. So you'll be charged every month, or you can cancel at any time. Within 14 days, I believe. 14 days, you cancel at any time.
Okay, and those subscriptions are managed through the App Store.
Yeah, so we don't actually manage the subscriptions. Apple does. So when you purchase that, you can manage that through your iTunes account, through the App Store.
Got it.
Yeah,
Vincent, it's again, note-taking apps intrigue me, and this one I appreciated the visuals of it, and I love the ideas. Yeah. I'm looking forward to using it in a live fire kind of situation to see how well it works out for me. But it's just one more potential tool in the toolbox, and that's we're always looking for a better tool.
Yeah, that's right. Maybe you could use that WWDC this year as well.
Yeah. Yes, that's a good point. Good point. Will you be coming over?
Hopefully, if we get tickets.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. All right. Well, good luck. I hope to see you there.
I hope to see you there as well.
For folks who want to learn more about this, they can obviously go to the App Store, but you also have a website for the app?
Yeah, it's actually notedapp.io. So you can go to the website and you'll find all the links to the App Store, to our social medias there. So that's where everything is if you want to find out more about Noted.
Great. Vincent and Grant, again, it's great to see you. Thanks so much for taking the time to talk to us.
Thank you, Chuck.
And I'll see you hopefully at WWDC.
Yep, you too.
All right.
All right, see.
Folks, I'm Chuck Joyner. This is Mac Voices. Go check out Noted. It is different. As I said before, there are plenty of note apps out there, but this one has kind of a unique feature set, and I think you might be very, very interested. Until the next time, and as always, thanks for watching. Visit MacVoices.com for show notes and to connect with Chuck on social media. Get involved in our Mac Voices Facebook group and get more out of your Apple tech with MacVoices Magazine, free on Flipboard. And if you find value in it all, consider supporting us at patreon.com/MacVoices and join these folks who help keep Mac Voices coming to you. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media at backbeatmedia.com. Bandwidth provided by CacheFly at cachefly.com.